This is one of the craziest puzzle boxes I've ever seen. It has so much going on the outside of the puzzle and so many tools inside that'll help you solve the next step of the puzzle. This is a Keebox Yellow puzzle. It is a sequential discovery puzzle. It is a level 9 on the Puzzle Masters difficulty scale. A lot of discovery and a lot of understanding what's happening on the outside of the puzzle. To get the Keebox Yellow and solve it for yourself, go check that link in our description or go directly to puzzlemaster.ca. So if we just start by looking at each side, this one has some little sliders here. It has like a yellow door here that has to open. On this side here, you can see the key box label can move. This button can push in. There's something through here that you can see. If we flip over onto this side, there are some dials with some Roman numerals on the bottom. So we got to figure out how we're going to find those numbers. This piece here will definitely come out of the puzzle. Then if you look through here, you can see there is a stake and then kind of some yellow piece back there. And then if we look here, there's like an eye symbol and some lines here and some slots here for something. But there's so much going on inside of this that it's going to take a while to solve and even more to figure out how to explain. So to start off the puzzle, you need to actually start with this dial here. It's the first moving thing on the puzzle box. So if we push this dial in about half the way, we can get this panel here to move on the top. And that reveals the first compartment in this puzzle box. If we flip it over, you can see we get our first tools here. We have two little dials. On the backs, they have little knobs and then they have little arrows pointing different ways. So now that points us to the bottom part of the puzzle here. So if we take these things, we have to line them up and figure out how they're going to sit on here in order to figure out how these arrows are going to point. But once we have these arrows pointed, we don't have anything yet to figure out how to move these because we can't move these dials with our hands. And that step is actually pretty simple. We have to actually still stay in this compartment here. And this piece here can actually slide out of the compartment. So inside of here, you can see if we flip this over, there is a yellow piece that kind of slides down in here. And now that that yellow piece has slid down, we can now move this panel on the front of the puzzle and be able to remove it. Now, if we look in here, you can see all the way through and we can see there is something here with a couple little knobs on it. We actually have to twist off this piece. And now if we take this piece, it acts as a tool on the bottom of the puzzle in order to rotate these dials. So now we have to get these dials to the right positions. So we have to take these here and figure out how they're going to sit on the board. So if we look at these pieces, the dots are set up a little bit differently so they can perfectly fit on certain spots of the board. And I think they're going to show us the position that we have to turn these in. So if we just have to kind of move this around until we find the correct spot for these dots to sit in. That doesn't quite fit either, but those fit in perfectly there, but this one knob on this side doesn't want to fit. So maybe if we flip this, but it still doesn't want to fit in there. What about, did I try this one? Where are these? Yeah, there we go. So this one here can fit perfectly in that spot, which means that this bottom one is going to point down to the bottom right. So you have to use this piece to twist this. Now we just have to find the placement of this one here. So this one looks like it's gonna fit here maybe. Oh, that is so close, but it's like just enough off where it won't fit. So if we take this and we flip it this way, there we go. We got the perfect fit for this one. And this now means that we have to twist this top knob to point up to the top left. Now that we have these in the right spot, let's flip this over and now the drawer can slide out here. And we've got more tools to help us solve the next part of the puzzle. So if we flip this over here and we try to take these pieces here, you can see they perfectly fit in through those slots on the side of the puzzle. And then if we remember, we saw a little eye here. That means we have to look at this through this way. We can see a 3 at this point here. You can see that with the lines up here, that only 2 of the lines are actually lined up. So that means if we flip over onto this dial, the 3 is probably going to go in the second spot. And then we just have to figure out what number, when we place these pieces in, what number is going to line up for the 1 and 2. If we flip this one, you can see we can only see one line completed here. And if we look through here, we can see a 5. So we need to see 5 and 3. And now we're just looking for this last dial to see which number is going to line up with that one. I don't think this is going to be in the front. I think we got to switch this one to the back. And if we take this one up front, so now that we can see through 3 lines, if we look through here, you can see there is a number 9. So now we have to flip onto this side and we were going back to 5 if the dials moved at all, 3, and then we have to take this one here that is going to line up with the number 9. We can now take this piece and remove it from the back of the puzzle. Doesn't look like we have anywhere else to use it just yet. But at this point here, if we push this drawer back inside, we heard something drop down there. Now we remove it and we have found the next clue to the part of our puzzle. So this little symbol here has a star on one side and then it has a 1 and a 5. So if we look on the outside of the puzzle box, we actually have a star here. We need to place this in here in order to help us solve this here. With the 3 little sliders, you can see we have 11, 5, and 2. So now we have to find numbers or different things that'll help us coordinate with this here. If you look on the top, you can kind of see different symbols through here. So let's kind of close this back up. And you can see there are triangles, squares, and circles. So maybe we have to find somehow how these triangles, squares, and circles are going to line up with this. But we still have to get these sliders to move. So in order to do that, we actually have to take this panel and slide it to the right, and you'll see a star through here. So if we take the key box and we kind of slowly shift it and tap it, you can see there is a yellow panel sliding inside of here. And on this yellow panel, it says circle is 7, triangle is 4, and square is 1. So in order to get 11, 5, and 2, we have to move these sliders now and figure out how these numbers are going to add up to 11, 5, and 2. To add up to 11, we can take a 7 and a 4. So we need the one with a circle and the triangle. Next spot here is going to be the 5. So now we need to take the triangle and the square. And lastly, we need the one with the 2 squares. And now that allows us to remove this piece in the puzzle. And this is our final tool to the puzzle, I think. We can now remove this door. Oh my gosh, it releases one more tool. So we got to slide this in here and figure out how this is going to work. So that kind of works, like the circle kind of doesn't really fit in there. Now if we go back to this side of the puzzle, you can see there is a panel here that we can slide this in, and it shows kind of which way you got to use this piece here in order to point it. So now we go back to this piece that we hadn't used yet. And inside of here, you can see there is, I don't know if I can show you, there's a yellow panel inside of here that we have to twist with this piece. So we got to line this piece up with where we have this notch on here. That's about right. And then we can take this out and double check that it has lined up with this notch here. So in order to get this piece here to move, we actually have to push this yellow piece in all the way. So the first piece we used is going to help us solve the last step of the puzzle, which is moving this piece out here. Now when we move this piece out here, you can see inside of here that it actually slides a panel, and you can see something hidden inside of there. Now just tip over the puzzle, and out pops the Keebox token. So that is the solve of the Keebox Yellow puzzle. Overall, such a crazy puzzle to understand and solve. So many tools to help you along the way. I hope you had fun with this puzzle. If you want to see more from the Keebox series or get this puzzle for yourself, go check it out at puzzlemaster.ca. And if you want to see more cool fun videos like this, click that subscribe button.